Take the wheel off. Use a 17mm socket to take the lug bolts out. Once you get to the last one, you can hold the wheel on. Take that bolt off and remove the wheel. I'm going to take this clip off right here. You can use a screwdriver or even a pair of pliers. Just try to slide that out. And just slide that out. You can grab the hose and just slide it out of the bracket. Just so you can get the hose. So there's a little bit of slack on the hose, so you don't have any tension on it. Now we're going to remove the nut from the sway bar link. We're going to use a 16mm socket, 18mm wrench to prevent the stud from spinning. Take that off and pull that out. Right under here, we're going to just put a pull jack. Just take the tension off the shock. Then we'll take that shock bolt out. That's good. Now I'll use a 18mm socket. Take this bolt out. Now I'm going to lower the screw jack down. Just make sure the brake hose is not binding up. And just grab a pry bar, pry underneath the spring. You can just pry it out. Just be careful. There we go. And slide the spring out. You can grab that base. Just remove this wire right here. This goes to the pad sensor. Just use a small straight blade screwdriver. Unhook the clip and just move it out of the way. That's fine. Now remove this bolt here. Use a 16mm socket on the bolt side, 18mm wrench on the nut. Take the nut off first. Carefully remove the bolt. It might tip down a little bit. That'll be loose. Now we gotta put a wrench on this nut back here. Use an 18mm wrench. Get that on. A little bit tricky to get to, but it's not impossible. You're gonna have to hold that while you take the bolt out on the other side. Use an 18mm socket. You wanna get on this upper bolt right there. Loosen that up while you're holding the wrench. Should be able to take that nut off. All right, pull that nut off. Then you can pull the bolt out. Just be careful. You don't want the upper control arm to fall. Slide that out. And just grab the arm and slide it out. There's a couple different methods for getting these bushings out. You can try pressing them out. If that doesn't really work for you, what you can do is take a drill bit. I'm just going to drill into here. With the drilling out the center bushing, sometimes you can separate the bushing from the outside shield of the bushing. At times you can take a drill bit and it'll just walk completely around. Yeah, that's not the case for this one, but that's okay. I just kept drilling, getting some of that out. Now we're just going to press that center piece out first. If you have a press, you can always use a press as well. All right, that's separated. I can take off the tool. Because this is corroded so much in there, I'm gonna slice this just with a Sawzall. Just trying to slice the bushing, not try to get into the control arm at all. Do the best you can. There we go, it's sliced through. I'm actually able to just slide it out. And I really didn't do any damage to the control arm, just a little scoring and that's fine. Because of the corrosion in there, I'm just going to use a wire brush and just clean this out. Now we're going to install the new one pretty much the same way the old one came out. The best way to take the old one out would have been pressing it out, but in our situation it didn't work out. It's two dissimilar metals and corrosion is what caused our situation. So we want this to go in like this. The spring is sitting here. This is in the upright position. So this longer end goes towards the back of the car. I'm going to slide this in here. We want one side to be able to push just on the bearing, just on the metal part of the bushing. And then we need another side where the bushing is going to go into the other side, so it doesn't bottom out. It's actually going to be this one. So find your correct adapters that work. Line this up. If you had a press, you could use a press to do this. You just got to get creative. So this will work like this. See, it's going in pretty easy. It's really not that difficult. And once it's all the way down, we're all done. It's all set. It's flat on this side and flat on this side. Now slide the arm in place. Right there. Then we'll put the bolts through. And slide the bolt in. And put the nut on the back side right here. A little bit tricky to get to. And put a wrench on there. And tighten it down. And before I torque this, you want this as close to ride height as possible. Right there is about good. Ideal would be putting it all back together and torquing it on the ground, but it's not realistic. Then I'm going to torque this to 56 foot-pounds. Now we're going to put this bolt in. If you take a screwdriver, just push this in a little bit, and you can go through the bushing and just pry it over a little if you have to. That'll help get it in. Line that up, push that in, and put the nut on. And tighten that down. Then again, you want this as close to drive height as possible. You want to torque this to 78 foot-pounds. Put this one on the top that has the hole in it. And the other one goes on the bottom. Very carefully, if you can take a scissor jack or if you had a bottle jack, you can find a location where you can put this and pry this down. This makes it a lot easier. But just be careful, you don't want this flying out. This would also help with removing it as well. It's good right about there. Just slide it in position. little more. I'm just going to try to pry it into location. Almost there. There it is. It's all the way in. Now I can remove the jack again. That's good. Now we can use a screw jack or a pole jack and raise up the knuckle and just get the link lined up. Take your nut, get that started. And you can tighten that up. And you can torque that nut to 47 foot-pounds. I'll raise up on the suspension so we can get it lined up with the shock. We can pull the shock down a little bit. And get the bolt lined up and get that started. Now I'm going to torque that to 74 foot-pounds. Remove the screw jack. Now slide the brake line, brake hose back in position, and then take the clip. I'm going to slide that in. Just tap it into place if you need to. That's good. Put the wheel on, line that up. Get the lug stud started. Now I'm going to torque the lug nuts to 110 foot-pounds in a cross pattern to tighten the wheel down evenly. And just go around again, double check.